So
It
one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, kanang, like you've been actually like on social media, you're quite vocal, no?
uh
Like more vocal than the normal. Well, more like you're vocal, but so a lot of people are vocal, right? Kanang they
mm,
voice out their concerns, their displeasure, whatever.
uh
But no one sees that. They're not a public
okay, yeah,
figure, no?
yeah,
And and you are. So it
uh
actually uh when you do something to some degree it spreads a little further, but it also has effect on your on 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 you
mm,
mismo
yeah,
on
mm.
no, do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, I've in my first 2 years here, I've been surrounded by people who've just been telling me to keep down, keep it down because and this ties in a lot to the kanang the bright spots that we're talking about. I'll take the point home later. Pero but again, in the first 2 years, I've been told a lot, I've been warned a lot to like keep it down, kay ingan na mahadlok na kita nga walay mo duol nga mag kanang walay mo duol nga brand nga magpa-endorse sa imuha tungod kay naa kay you're this outspoken person. And then naa magud ko'y belief ako is ang akong belief is ang artist gani ka, 'di ba? So you use your voice, what feeds your art? It's your experience of life. It's how you observe what's going on. How you observe people, and uh, so you will always have a world view also as a person, as a citizen, and that ties very much into your being an artist. Murag dili raman good dekorasyon ang artist in general nga pagbuhat lang love songs din ha. Pagbuhat lang og kanang pagbuhat lang mga happy-happy nga mga palamuti din ha pang dekorasyon sa atong mga life, no. That's a very vapid person that you want me to turn into a vapid person. Is that what you're saying? But again, and I really refuse that. I refuse to believe nga ang artist walay opinion na agi na siya opinion and na ay right mo ingon ang mo express ang artist niyang opinion because like everybody else working man pud nga mga tao, we are working, nagbayad po ta sa itong mga taxes, nagbayad po ta sa itong mga bills, we are very much part of the system. Kung kinsay liderato din ha, apil ta affected ta, dili ta murag okay, we're not exempt from whatever's happening to the next person here in this country. And this was also murag nabasahan po din ako kay one of my favorite actors, si Irfan Khan, God rest his soul. Also expressed the same thing in an article that I read about him. He said that the artist is a citizen first and foremost. Also, kung yes, ganahan ako may mong Irfan Khan. So muna siya. Sige istorya, and then the pandemic happened, di ba? And then all of a sudden, ABS-CBN got closed down. Artists started speaking up, started finding their voice ba? And to speak up. There are these bigger names now that are mura sila bahala mo diha magstorya nako. I've been keeping quiet for so many years because I've been told to shut up. And now I'm speaking up now. And now they've been empowered. Now they're talking and there's a shift happening actually. There's a shift happening within the film TV world where people kind of don't want to work with you if you are of a certain political affiliation. Kibaw na tag unsa okay ra ba ta mo mention na din sa imong podcasting?
Yeah, we
Basta
can do whatever you want.
okay, so
I literally do not care.
okay. So far sa ako nadunggan ha. So far lang ni sa ako nadunggan pod. Pero there's this talk nga murag ang mga tao are generally not inclined to work with you if DDS ka. So that's the kind of shift that's kind of happening now. within the industry, because people are starting to talk. People are beginning to find their voice. People are beginning to not care anymore about unsa may image pa nga akong i-care about nga nagkandalitsi-litsi naman atong country Ginoo ko, murag wala na feeling sa mga tao ba. So again, that's one of the, I think, the bright spots that we were talking about ganina. I guess I could include that in that category. People beginning to speak up. So ako di na pud ko mahadlok ron actually kay compared pud aning the people who just some of the personalities who have just become empowered enough to be able to speak out finally. Mas dagko maganing mga ngalan, di ba? They have more to lose than me, really. So, okay, go guys. Let's all participate in the national conversation also. And actors are coming together also, because
Mm.
actors are coming together, making groups to grow, not just for creative purposes and creative for the sake of kanang work related reasons ba, but it's also because this is a space for us to express our opinions as artists regarding what's happening with the country, and unsay role na mo pod ana ba unsay pwede na mo i-contribute bitaw ani nga discussion. That's great. What else? Yeah,
I think
I think
like
yeah, I think that's
kanang
it. Mm-mm.
I think like that's why it's always surprised me. So uh I remember, so for some reason what came to mind, this might be totally
Uh,
out of your alley,
uh,
no, but what came to mind to me was like Michael Jordan. And
uh,
he famously in the 90s had nothing, no political affiliation, no
mm-mm,
like he did not voice out anything. Like
mm-mm,
even if there was something happening that was kanang uh uh what do you call this, oppressive to the black population, and didn't
mm-mm,
say anything. He had the opportunity to to show his to put his name behind somebody who was helping their uh the African American, and no,
mm-mm,
and he didn't do it. That was in the
mm-mm,
90s, because that the whole thinking was, you know, if the whole thinking was they didn't want to alienate half the
mm-mm,
population, no.
mm-mm,
But if you look at it now, at least in basketball, in basketball, they are very opinionated. I don't know if you're a basketball fan. Like I'm not really a basketball fan. I
na
used to be,
yeah, oo.
but I
Ba
used to be a
ako no, ako dili
basketball
kayo.
fan.
Oo.
Okay, so anyway, sige, but I will run through it. But I used
Oo,
to be a basketball fan, but now, if you watch a basketball game, they have the words Black Lives Matter on the
oo,
jersey. Every
oo,
jersey. Kanang something to that degree ba? Like kanang murag making a stand on something. And then
mm,
to the point where every player wears it. It's on the game, and
mm,
so at least in the NBA, which they are more kanang opinionated, good. There's one
mm.
I'm gonna just shout out Stevie 76 guy. He always comments about basketball. What's the name? But anyway, thank you, Stevie, for the comments. But like, kana ba? So you see people of note who have
Mm,
who have shown who have shared their opinions. No,
mm.
I hear Stevie 76 said Jordan famously said Republicans buy sneakers too. I think that's a
Okay,
Jordan quote.
there. Oo,
So kanang na ba? So but
oo.
now people are voicing out their opinions, and that was
Mm,
interesting for me to hear nga unsa ni ba, like it's like that in Manila nga, like a lot of the artists in quote unquote show business nga
mm.
murag didn't really voice out, and now especially with I guess with what happened to ABS-CBN, kay a lot of these artists
Yeah,
are really, I guess half of them
yeah.
are employed by ABS-CBN,
Mm,
no.
mm. Yeah.
And So wala na sa una. It wasn't like that before.
Not so, no, not so much. Dili kayo. As I never really got into like learning about Philippine showbiz before. Like only it was only up until I moved here when I really got to kind of figure out who's who, and what it is that they think around here. Kay before that, wala kay ko basa po dong showbiz nga mga balita. This was really not something that uh, I was very keen on reading about, really. But just compared to pre-pandemic and now, before there was always this huge talk about like um um quiet lang ka para it's okay, it's best to stay safe, it's best to stay kanang, because they're afraid like of losing, like let's say the endorsements. They're afraid of like katong gingon ni katong kang Jordan nga quote sa nga Stevie shared ganina nga Republicans buy
TV.
sneakers too. um it's it's very kapitalista kay nga panghuna-huna ba kumbaga nga the capitalist wants all the profit. So let's not say anything that will lessen that market, that will cut that market in half. Balik, because that means we're gonna lose profits. And then so ang mga artists put din he for quite the longest time kay murag they also don't want to kind of lose the possibility of those endorsements. I guess it's just the difference between them and me is that I never really had those endorsements in the first place. Like, kinsa may magpa-endorse na kog whitening product, diri nga brown makay ko. And proudly so. So, di ba?
What was that? I'm blanking. What was that commercial that you guys did? That really fun one,
Oh,
katong.
Pax browning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pax
murag somebody like an ad stole it, right? Like almost.
yeah. They didn't really
It's
steal it.
crazy.
They didn't really steal it, but claro kayo siya nga they were trying to kind of hijack the idea, because that was the like around the time ganing katag to nga fake ad na mo. Everybody knew it was a fake ad ba. So and it wasn't just us, really. It was also this there was this Morena movement going on, which wasn't really it was empowering people who had more melanin. But it was also just love the skin you're in. Like we're all of mixed heritage in this country. A lot of us are puti na daan. There's a lot of us that are brown na daan, and really there's no need to change that. It's really part of our history pa. So murag ina na siya. And it was gaining traction. It was gaining momentum at nga time. And I heard gani nga there were some brands who were kind of threatened because this conversation was happening online. Um, Everywhere, not just here, actually also sa lain nga naso, there were videos were coming up about colorism in India kanang inana, it is kind of happening ba. So mura sila gana, ang feeling nako gana na sila mubaws nga mura we want to take back that narrative. We don't want that narrative that we have profited from to change. So to kontra the morena or colorism nga awakening sa mga tao about it, mura gi-hijack nila ang among concept. And dili kami nakabantay adto, ang mga tao on Twitter ang
Mm.
nagtag na mo nga prag hala di ba mura mi ginyo hangad brag ina na bitaw. And then kami ni Samantha was like hala bitaw no, hala bitaw no. Ataya ang mga tao pa may nakabantay actually. But anyway, asa na gito tong
Yeah,
story adto? Oh, no,
sorry,
no, sige sige
I was
pare.
just gonna, comment on like kanang you're talking about like art and yeah, the artists are citizens too. But I think like
Oo.
good art is in a way kind of just mirrors uh murag, I was gonna say society, but not really. Kanang good art lets you see something differently that you've seen all
Mm-mm.
the time before, and kind of like lets you see a different perspective of it. So like for example,
Mm-mm.
like what you guys did, no, I mean, yeah, ever since I've been growing up, you've seen those really crazy, stupid ads of like
Mm-mm.
whitening, and
Mm-mm.
and
Mm-mm.
really, it was like kinda- it it's absurd in a way,
Oo.
but you never thought it was absurd because like you just saw it
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
and over and over and over again, and
Right.
and And what you guys did was kind of like open the curtain and said, kanang, yeah, this is kind of this is this is what they are doing, and we're just
Mm-mm.
flipping it
Oo.
and just using the same conversation except it's like a different skin color. Kaya na ba? And
Mm.
just look at how absurd this is. No?
Yes. Yes.
And
Oo.
in a way I think like good art and good artists are able to do that, no? Uh
Mm.
so yeah, like unfortunately I'm very kanang western in terms of my kanang murag what I know ba. So like the ones that came to
Oo.
mind were kanang mga what's his name, the guy who did Obey.
Which one? Kinsa
I'm
na?
blanking. You know, he did like Obama's drawing, no? Katong he did
Murag wala ko
Obama
ka-encounter
thing.
ana. Wala ko
Yeah, well
ka-encounter.
anyway,
Wala ko ka-encounter.
he yeah, basta kanang he did this Obey thing and yeah, murag, for some
Oo.
reason it got traction because it just showed a different
Ah,
side of society. And ano ba? And
okay.
I think like good art and good artists are able to do that. And what happens is when you do stuff like that is that kanang people latch on to it. Like same thing what
Mm.
happened to you guys. Like kanang your the Sutukil, that commercial, ana. Like people became fans of what you do because of that. And you can't deny that ba? No?
Yeah, it takes it for things like these bitaw. It takes just one person. For example, kana nga issue no.
Mm.
Um there's always for certain issues that people start talking about eventually. There's always this just one person nga mo finally mo voice out ba mo ingon og ako gikapoy nako. Wala mo gikapoy. Na bitaw, they just finally blurt it out. Just blurt out what they know nga everybody else is also feeling and thinking. Marag, it's just this one person or this one group ito nga marag, I have something to say. Gikapoy na day ko guys. Kamo, let's talk about this. Kaya ako gikapoy na ko. Gikapoy na jud. Um, and that's also one way in which artists express their opinion. And like you said, exactly why people latch onto these things is because um relatable man siya nga experience, shared experience man siya sa mga tao, and finally they're allowed to say also nga ako pod I agree gikapoy na pud ko, and I really want to make fun of this because I've always felt like this has alienated me, and this is absolutely absurd. Now the problem with the way of thinking sa mga tao diri for a while is that don't artists are dapat dili they are not supposed to be political. Artists are not supposed to be political.
Which is not true. Which has
Dili
never
siya
been true.
tinuod. Yes, it's never true. Art is always what is personal is political. 'Di ba? Um when you tell a story about whatever's happening to, let's say, a person who happens to be urban poor, kana is that's already a commentary on that situation. That's already a kind of, if not a political statement, an observation on what's going on social culturally or social politically. So kuwang gamay sa edukasyon, I guess, ang mga tao who say nga artists cannot have opinions. Again, mabalik na punta sa education system diri sa Pilipinas nga murag dili ta tuduan og kanang critical thinking ba kasagaran. And so you have
Well,
people, yeah. It's very sad.
well, no, but like,
Such a
also at the same time, the truth really is kanang a person is smart, but people are pretty dumb. Like kanang
yeah.
like a group of people, you're gonna get a lot of them who just don't, you know, don't read,
Yeah.
don't they have an opinion but don't know the facts. Kaya na ba?
Yeah.
And
Oo. Yeah.
unfortunately, the way the internet is designed, it kind of fosters that thinking.